I trust we are doing excellent. I keep going back here because I just want to make sure you guys can hear my voice. Anyways, I'm working on a song that we are working on for our girls. Basically, every Christmas we give them assignments to, you know, do some Christmas jingles and stuff. So I put together some songs. Let's see if you can figure out the songs that we are working on. So here's the first song. Tell me if you can figure it out. Okay, let me add a little bit more to it so you enjoy it. All right, so if you figured it out, that was Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad. Yeah, I don't know how to say that, you know. It's a Spanish language. But anyways, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. So that was the first song. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs, okay? That's why I've color coded it so I can easily see it. All right, and then see if you can figure out the next one. I'm very sure you figured that one very quick, right? So that is "Oh Come All Ye Faithful." Okay, so it started from "Come and Behold Him." All right, so the third song, what do we have? Tell me if you can figure it out. So if you didn't figure it out, it's "Head of thy church triumphant." And then the part that we all know, "We lift our hearts and voices, la 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 la." So that's that song, okay? Um, and then the third song is a song that when I was in Ghana years ago, when I was a young boy, I think I knew about this song, but we never sang it right. So I don't know, it popped in my spirit. I was like, okay, let me look it up and see if I can find it and have the Angela. So this is Angela's work that I'm working on. We are working on all their projects, but this is Angela's own. So let's see if you can figure out the fourth song in the medley, Christmas medley. It's going to be very hard for you to remember, but if you are somebody who grew up in Ghana and you know how we used to sing those songs, you probably figured this one out. But it's a hymn song anyways. I don't know if you remember, but anyways, it's "See Amid the Winter Snow." It's a song that it's pretty, you know, well known. We used to sing it back in the days. "See amid the winter snow, bonfires on the pillow." Right? "See amid the silent crisis one eternity." Right? something like that. Anyways, and then the final one there, oh, you will know it. This one is a tree one. I decided to add this one. Let's see if we can figure it out. One more time, try and figure it out. Okay, I don't know if you figured it out, but it's like Many Yehovah, many wina my favor. Many Yehovah, many wina my favor. Many wina my favor. I know that one is not so much of a Christian song, Christmas song, but I wanted to add that one because I feel like we are going into the new year, and that is God's way of assuring us that no matter what comes our way, He's going to be with us. So that's why I added that one last to it. So just be comforted that in the year 2023, if 2022 was not your year, things didn't go well, you lost loved ones, life was not the best to you, just know that hope is not dead, okay? And I believe that's what that song is going to do for us. So anyways, there are 5 songs in this medley. So now what you see me doing is called mixing. I'm not going to talk to you all the time because I'm actually mixing. Okay, so I just want some of my music guys to see how it's done because I get a lot of questions on, can you teach us how to mix worship and all that? If you learn how to mix anything, you should be able to mix worship and all that. So that's kind of why I'm showing this, okay? So I'm going to be mixing. So I'm not going to be talking to you all the time. Right now I'm talking to you just to make it a bit interactive, but there are going to be sections where I'm barely talking to you guys, okay? So first things first, whenever I'm mixing a project, right now, let me show you guys something. So in Logic, if you create a track, okay, let's say I create a track, right? When you create a track, automatically, what it does is this. Automatically, that track, it puts buzz sense on it, okay? So if buzz sense on it, what do you think is going to happen to the buzz groups? Okay, it's going to create automatic buzz groups over here. You see, those were not created by me. Okay, if I undo what I just did, it's still going to remain. That's because I created that track. Watch this. I'm going to delete that, okay? And watch this. I'm going to recreate. Okay? So watch. When I create, watch in this section that the new bus is going to come. Watch. I'm going to create new instrument. I'm going to say, okay, watch that is going to come. You see? Automatically it comes. You see? So I hope you saw. You see the green? I'm deleting. Okay? And watch this. I'm going to recreate. I've just deleted again. I'm recreating. Watch what happens. You see the green is not there at this point, right? But watch. The moment I create, watch. It creates buzz groups, okay? And so those 2, 6, and 7, that's what it stands for. Because I have my own that I put in here already prior to the mixing session. But I'm going to explain it all. Anyways, so the point of me saying that is I like to clean it all up. So normally when I'm about to do a project or mix a project, I'll go through all the buses and clean it up. How do you know something is a bus? In Logic, it goes the direct inputs, then it goes the bus, then it goes the main, out, and the master. That's how it works in Logic. The ones after that is just me setting DCA groups, okay? So DCA groups, I'll explain more towards whenever I get there, okay? So anyways, I hope you guys get it, okay? So don't worry about these. When we get there, I'll talk more about it. So let's start from scratch. So normally what I like to do is I like to zero out my tracks. So that means I like to bring everything to zero, okay? So I'm going to kind of show you all of that in real time, okay? I've kind of already done this work already, but it's okay. I want to show it to you so it helps you, okay? So I'm going to be fair to you, okay? So right now, why am I going to zero it out? I'm going to zero it out so you don't get anything. And also, I have some mixing done already. So for those, I'm not going to delete. All I'm going to do is I'm going to mute, okay? I'm going to mute and you're not going to hear it. And then the bus sense, I'm going to mute as well, okay? So you realize that all those are now grayed out, okay? So grayed out means it's not active, it's inactive, okay? So once I activate it, then you're going to see it, okay? So let's start from the top, okay? So first things first, we are going to zero out the board, okay? So we are going to go from left to right. You see some certain things muted, okay? Don't worry about it. I'll explain it when we get there. Except don't zero out the buses. Leave it at zero, okay? So the last instrument is where we created. Let's delete it because we don't need it. We don't need some of these, but for now, let's keep it there for now. All right, and I'm gonna now zero it out. So what I mean by zero out is I'm gonna highlight it all and I'm gonna zero it out, okay? So now everything should be at zero, okay? Now, for whatever reason, if you don't have certain things at zero, just go in there. The reason why some of it is not getting at zero is because the figures were different. So just go, if you don't see something showing you the indefinite, okay, which means it's at zero, just go in there and turn it down more. You see like how I did that one? Okay, so the point is when you play, you shouldn't hear anything. See, like right now I'm playing, I'm not hearing anything. Had I not done what I did here, and maybe there was some volume, I'll hear it a little bit. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that, okay? Cool. All right, so now that we have zeroed out the board and we know that we don't have anything done at this point, we are going to walk through, okay? So here is a loop from, one of the engineers in Nigeria that I follow. I like some of his work, so I kind of decided, hey, let me check out some of his loops and use that for this project since this is not a major project and something very simple for Christmas. Okay, so if you don't know him, you can follow him on YouTube, OY Productions. He's pretty good guy. He knows, he has some, good content that you will love. So just, follow him if you don't know about him. All right, so here, you realize I'm playing, nothing is actually playing, okay? So first things first, I'm going to solo out my first track, then I'm going to bring out the dry signal, okay? All right, I'm not using my mixer, I'm using my mouse because of the streaming. But anyways, go ahead and then bring it up, okay? You see, it brings up that. Now remember, in mixing, you want to mix low. So if I start shooting it all high, by the time I'm done, I'm going to be high. So don't mix hot, okay? Mix soft or mix in the middle, in between soft and hard. I hope that makes sense. Hard means I'm going hard. Soft means I'm going soft, okay? Hard means I'm pushing it. Soft means I'm being careful. So all that I'm saying is be in between the hard and the careful, okay? That's all I'm saying, all right? So here, we're gonna bring out so first things first, I worked around that loop, okay? So here's the loop I worked around. You see, I'm not pushing it too much. See, if I push it, I can push it here. Okay, you don't want to push it. You want to have clean mixes, so I'm not going to push it too much. Okay, that sounds okay to me. So now that I have it there, the next question is how do I work with the equalizations and stuff like that? Honestly, for me personally, whenever I'm mixing a project, I got to see how good does that loop sound out of the box to begin with, okay? If the loop sounds great out of the box, I try not to mess with it too much, okay? But for the purpose of working, let's go ahead. I have two of them. So I have this one doing this. Then I have another one that I'm going to bring up right now doing this. You see, it's like a shaker and a cowbell. Okay, you see that? So together, it comes together with this. If I take it out, it's empty. It sounds, dull. So to bring a little bit of activity and heaviness to it or whatever, fullness to it, I add that. All right, cool. So the question here is, first things first, whenever I'm mixing, I try to equalize, compress, and then add necessary effects as needed. For example, reverb, okay? Because of what I'm trying to accomplish with this track, and it's not really, a major project or anything, I didn't want to mess with the actual loop, okay? So you hear it. It sounds good out of the box, okay? So for me personally, even if I try to equalize, just watch. Say I really try to equalize and I did a little bit of a high cut, and say I boosted a little bit of the low mid. Okay, I boosted a little bit of it. Okay, say say I cut certain frequencies that I may not want. Okay, and maybe I cut some high frequencies. Not too much. I'll explain what I'm doing later. Watch. So say I did this and I liked it. Maybe do a cut here in this range. You guys know why I go high? Because I'm trying to find frequencies that I may not like, okay? And that's why I'm doing that, okay? So say what I did, I like it. Let's bypass it so we can hear between the two, okay? So between the two, this is what we have that. Okay, you hear it? You see, it's a bit lighter, like that, without it equalized. And it's a bit warmer with it equalized. You know why? Because we've cut it high. Okay, if we don't, it's gonna get back there some way, somehow. Okay? Okay, so anyways, that's what I do during equalization. Let me see what I did with this second one. So with the second loop, I did a high cut, okay, and I boosted this range, probably because of the cowbell. You see the peak, all right, for that reason, okay? So let's just say I wanted to equalize both. Let's see how it sounds like with equalization and without equalization, both. Without. So most times when you work with loops, most of them already are treated, okay? But let's just say you don't like what you hear and you wanted to treat it more, or you wanted to push it more. That's the purpose of that, okay? I think I will go with the equalization I did. Yeah, I think I'll go with it. Okay, so anyways, that's the first thing that I do, okay? So the next thing I like to do, okay? The next thing I like to do is I like to add compressors, okay? So for compressors, because this is kind of a stereo sound, because I need to hear it in both ears, I cannot afford to hear the sound in just one ear or on one side, left or versus right. I make sure I hear it in both. Okay, so let me turn it on. Let me tell you generally what I do. Generally, I set the threshold to where I think I want it to hit hard at, you know, whether I want to hit it hard or I want it to hit soft. So I use the threshold to control the hardness or the softness, okay? Then I use the ratio to kind of determine to what extent I want to hit it, okay? And then I use the gain to kind of control how much it affects my overall output. You get what I'm saying? So I normally work with these three a lot. I barely ever mess with these, but once in a while I will mess with these, especially if I'm really into some hard mixing. Now, you guys may see this way, or you may see it this way. I'm just an old school guy, so I like things the original way. So that's why I have it this way, okay? But if you like the new way, it's all up to you, okay? That's your own choice. All right, let me go back to my old school way. All right, so I just copied over the second loop setting or effect setting on here. Then I'm going to tweak it, okay? The only reason why I'm doing this is because I want to go fast, okay? I don't want to be looking around for stuff. All right, so first things first, let me take this out so we can only hear just what we are working on, the first track, okay, which is the shaker, the main loop. All right, you guys see it's hitting hard, okay? It's hitting very hard. I don't like that, okay? So what I'm gonna do, let's see. You see how I'm letting it hit soft? That's not what I want. Yeah, for this one, I shouldn't really be compressing that much. But I'm going to do slight compression. And then you see how it's hitting right here? It's very bad, okay? So I'm going to take it down. All right? You guys see that? Let's go back a little bit. Okay, let's go back. Okay, you see how it didn't hit this time? It didn't distort this time. I'm going to push it a little bit more. Let's go back in here. Okay, let's push it a little bit more. All right, so, you know, this is why I said I like to just leave it in, so I don't affect the original way. Because right now, by us equalizing and compressing, this is what we have. Had we not done that and we used the original sound, this is what we have. Okay, but again, we are just starting. All right, so now that we have that, I'm going to use my CLA to kind of bring a little bit of energy. So with the CLA, the general rule is I like to basically set my peak reduction to a certain ratio where I see the response where I want to see it. So depending on what I'm working on, if it's a snare, maybe I don't want it to hit hard and I want to just see a little bit of reaction. If it's a kick, maybe a little bit. If it's a shaker, maybe somewhere in between here. Okay, so I just, based on what sound I'm working with. Okay, so for the shaker, I always like it anywhere between from the 0 to, I can't really see my screen because it's far from me, but from the 0 up to right about here. Okay, the first half. Okay, so that's why I like to see my shakers. Now you use the gain to make it louder or softer. Okay, so again, it's up to you. But remember, the more you push the gain, it affects your actual output gain. So you want to be careful with that. And for the analog feel, I put at 60 hertz. Okay, just to um, cut off some of the smoothen some of the low ends. You can turn it off if you want, just to have the analog feel. Yeah, so I'm going to go hard with this. Because I lost some energy by equalizing. So I'm going to go hard with this. You see how it's reacting the way I want it? So without me treating it versus treating it. So this is with treatment. This is without treatment. So this is without treatment. So one thing we realized is because we did the high cut, we kind of missing a little bit of that, and we can fix all that, okay, in mixing. But I just want to see what we're gonna get out of it. That's all. So with the treatment. All right, cool. Anyways, that's all we're going to do with it for now, okay? Usually I like to do equalization and compression, then I do whatever else I want. I think for me, once I get my EQ and compression right, I really don't care about anything else. So anyways, that is that, okay? So now let's work on the second loop. So the second loop, same thing. We start with equalization, which I talked to you guys about. Bring this range up a little bit so I can get my cowbell playing. If I cut it, I won't hear my cowbell too well. So I want to hear my cowbell. So that was the whole purpose of that. Okay, and then also my compression. So let's just go through it very quick. I'm going to turn the other one off. So first things first, it's going to be down. We're going to bring it up wherever we want it. That's fine for me over there. It's just a starting point, by the way. So nothing is on it. So now we are going to try and equalize it. Okay, we're going to turn it on. All I did is I did a low cut and then I boosted a little bit of this end. Okay, without it, it just sounds light a little bit, So I just kind of use it this way to add a little bit of color and darkness to it, I guess. I don't know if it sounds darker to you, but it sounds darker to me. Then I did a little bit of compression. Okay, so let's see how the compression looks like. Okay, we are not getting any distortion. And we set the threshold a bit down. And it's just reacting just right about. It's not a hard hit. We're good to go. And then I made a mistake here by moving this over. So let's bring it back. So I want this slightly. Yep, I want my cowbell slightly. So you guys see how that works. Okay, so together with the first, that's what we have. So first things first, let's take it back down and let's work it in. Now that we have some treatment done, so we can know the right levels. You see, because the CLA is very hot, you see how the CLA is very hot, I wouldn't want to push it too much here, okay? So you have to be very careful. All right, that sounds right about good to me. Let's bring the other one in. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to push it high, then I bring it down, just to kind of see, really hear it. And the purpose of all this too is as you are doing it, you sometimes keep an eye here, but I don't worry too much about it because I have too many tracks in here. But you know, you want to look at your output meter to make sure you're not peaking above a certain threshold you don't want. Okay, so for me personally, I don't want to peak. By the time I'm done mixing a song like this, I wouldn't want to be peaking anywhere past, let's say 4.5 or anything, but I keep it lower to give myself more room. So I'm going to be shooting for somewhere like between -7, -9, somewhere between thereabout. Okay. All right. Okay, so we good. We got that going. All right. Cool. So now that we have that going, let's work on some of our other stuff. So for me personally, I added some congos in there. So I'm gonna take it back here and then we are gonna work on that. Okay, so the reason why it's muted is because it's a multi. So let me show you guys. So whenever you go into your used battery, you're gonna have the option to pick a stereo, mono, or a multi-output. Okay, so it's a multi-output setting. And so because of that reason, I have muted this because I don't want all the sounds playing again, duplicating. So I use other channels for my instruments, then I mute 1 and 2 because that's kind of like the stereo. Okay, so I have it muted because if I don't, what is playing here is also going to play here. That's why I have it muted. Okay, so first things first is the congos. Okay, so I'm going to add the congos to it. So right now you don't hear it. You don't hear it. So now I'm going to add it in. So I've already played it. So all that I'm going to do is bring it in, and then we're going to go through the process of how I mixed it or treated it. Okay. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to solo the high. It's not really a high tom. Empty, usually high tom, mid tom, but you know, just the high. the high Congo and the mid Congo. Let's put it that way, or the low Congo if you want to call it that. Anyways, high and the low. The high sound, kudu kudu, and then the low sound, boom boom boom. Okay, simple, not hard. So let's bring it in. Let's see how it sounds. I've already panned it. So instead of leaving it in the middle, I panned it minus 30 and then plus 30 for the second sound. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Let me take these two out. Let me play it by itself so you can hear it. You guys hear it? You guys hear it? So that's what I'm talking about. Let me take it back down. Let's work on one at a time. So with this, I have it panned to the left, so it's going to be playing. So the only thing is, because it's not equalized yet, it's not going to sound the way it needs to sound, okay? So first things first is I need to work on it to get the sound that I want out of it, okay? So first thing is I equalized it. You guys see that with the equalization? Without, you see? Now, you guys see that? Without. It's fine, nothing is wrong with it, but it sounds too flat to me. You know, adding a little bit of energy. Okay, so that's what I did there. Then with a compression, I used a mono signal rather than a stereo signal because I want it to sound mono. Okay, and you see where the threshold is at, the ratio and the gain. You see the gain is low, but it's still really hot. Okay, then I use the 2LA stereo in mono instead of 2LA 2A in mono instead of stereo. Okay, you see it gives that a little bit of energy. Now I can push this a little bit and bring it somewhere between here, but I think I'm fine with this. Let me see how hot it is. Yeah, it's very hot. It's very hot. Let me see something. Yeah, it's very hot. It's very hot. So we're going to reduce it a little bit. All right. All right, it's fine for me. Okay. So now that we have that, let's bring the other one also so we can figure it out. So same thing. The equalization, get it in the way you want to hear it. Okay. Without the EQ. With the EQ. A little bit of high cut, a little bit of low cut, a little bit of high boost, and slight moderate changes in the mid-low sections. Okay, not that complicated. Okay, a compressor. Okay, in mono. Okay, R comp. Okay, and then the 2LA in mono. You guys see that? All right, cool. I just reverted back to it so I can have similar sound there. Okay, so here I'm gonna take it out, and now I'm gonna bring it in. These two we have already set the levels. So those two we have already set the levels. Now I'm gonna bring the congos in at the levels that I want to hear it. So you see, when the music comes, it sounds good, but you have to go through this process. I have to solo first before I can hear it. I don't want to push it too much. It's going to make it bad. Okay? So just about good enough. You don't want it to run away, so you want to have it good enough and high enough. That sounds okay to me. I'm going to bring the other one in. So normally, since this is at negative 26.0, I can bring that about the same to start with. I feel like I want to make that higher to give it a different feel, okay? Yeah, I want to give it a different feel. Yeah, you guys see that? Okay, cool. Normally when I'm mixing, I want to keep saving my work. So anytime you guys see me hitting and hitting and hitting or going here and saving, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so now that we are done with that, we are going to bring in our kick and anything else we want to add to complement to the drums, okay? So I already have these done. I'm just mixing and telling you what I've done. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the hi-hat. Is the hi-hat necessary? Look at it. It's not, but I'm kind of trying to get a Highlife feel to it. So that's why I decided to use a hi-hat. So let's hear how the hi-hat sounds like, natural as is. Ta 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 ta. Okay, natural as is. Okay, so now let's work on it a little bit. We're gonna add EQ. We just did a high cut here and some treatments over here by doing some slight boosts towards the mid to high frequencies. And we did, you know, a low cut, okay? Very simple. Without the EQ, with the EQ. All right, cool. So then we did a compression, okay? We did it in mono, our comp in mono. Now, I don't like to compress hi-hats. Normally, I wouldn't do this, but for this track, I decide to do that, okay? If you don't want to compress it too much, you can set the threshold high and don't bring it down, or just slightly, you know, but I pushed it a lot more, okay? But it's up to you, whatever you're trying to accomplish, okay? And then I use the mono, all right, because it's a mono sound. I use the CLA2A in mono. You guys see that? Great. And these are the settings for it, just so you guys see. All right. Great. So now that I have that, we're going to take it back to 0. Bring the loop and bring all the works we've done and work it in. Let's put it that way. That's how I work. I have to compare and work in this sequential order, okay? All right, we're gonna bring it in. All right, cool. The last thing that I'm gonna add, I probably might add other things later if I decide to, but for now, I want to work with what I have for now. All right, so the kick, maybe some, you know, rollings and stuff like that, but I'll think about it. All right, so here is the kick. So the kick is just going to be straightforward. So let's add it in and see how it sounds like. All right, it's going to be flat, and then I'm going to work it in, okay? So you hear it. I'm going to set the kick high for the purpose of me hearing it well, you know, because I don't want to play by itself, or else you will not see why it is that way, okay? Okay, so let's work on that. So first things first is the EQ, okay? So the EQ, we boosted a little bit of the lows, cut a lot, okay? So I boosted a little bit of the lows, and then not really a low mid, but kind of still in the lows. You know, I kind of boosted a small bit, okay? Then I cut a lot of the mids, okay? As you guys can see. And then I also did a slight increase towards the highs, okay? And I really cut a lot of the highs also, okay? So I cut a lot of the highs and did a slight increase there, okay? So that's how the kick sounds like. So without equalization for the kick, it sounds like this. With the equalization, it sounds like this. So I'm going to do with and without so you see it. All right, to me it sounds heavier, okay? So it sounds heavier to me, and you're able to hear how it sounds like, okay? So even without me adding all these, we can still hear it by itself, okay? So this is without the EQ. And I'm going to bring in the EQ. Okay, so that's how it sounds like with the EQ, okay? All right, so now I'm going to compress it also, okay? So I'm going to compress it. And you guys can see this time around, I did not bring my threshold down. That's an example of what I'm talking about. Although I'm compressing, I'm not bringing my threshold down in my compression because I don't want to compress my kick too much. Now I'm going to show you how compressing it will make it sound like versus not compressing it, so you understand what I'm talking about, okay? So right now, it's kind of slightly compressed a little bit, but really still maintaining the normal original tone of the kick, okay? But I'm gonna actually compress it so you really see how it can sound like and the other possibilities, okay? So here. So that's the regular compression as I'm talking about. Then this here is going to be it being compressed a little bit more. So here. You guys see that? So the more you compress, you kind of begin to lose the different frequencies in the kick, and you get more of I don't know how to explain it, a washed out kick, I guess. So I decided to keep it up. Can you slightly compress it? Yes, you can, because it will not make much of a difference. And here's an example of that. Hear it. This is slight compression. And I'm not hearing much of a difference. You only start hearing more of a difference the more you push. You see that? The more you're pushing. Okay? Okay? So you can decide to slightly compress it if you want it. Yeah, which I think we can do that just for the purpose of demonstration. Okay, so this is like a slight compression. You guys see that? Uncompressed. It's all up in your face. Slight compression. It's kind of back there. You get it? All right, cool. And the only reason why I'm doing slight compression is I'm actually going to compress it again with a CLA, okay? And the not really the CLA, I use the Pork Tech for that, okay? And with the Pork Tech, I'm going to use the low end to kind of gain my, to reshape my low ends, okay? So let's see how it sounds. This is without the Pork Tech, and this is with. You guys see that? Without, with. Now I came across Waves. Waves just released a new plugin called, let me see if I can find it for you guys. It starts with M. A plugin called Magma BB Tubes. Okay, BB Tubes. Okay, so I tried to mess with this. Technically, you can work with a plugin like this too for something like the kick, because it has some things that you find useful to kind of smoothen it and stuff like that. So let's kind of work with it and let's hear what we get. Let's see what we get. So we're going to activate it. So we're going to go for the beauty to really smoothen it. Not too much or you're going to mess it up. So smoothen it. And we're going to go for the bass relief. So if there's too much bass and you want to relieve a little bit of the bass, I guess you use the bass relief. And then take out a little bit of that, okay? So I think for me, I probably don't want that. Sensitivity, how sensitive it is. Okay. Now, if we want to add some post EQ, okay, pre EQ. Okay, or something, and see this like harmonic distortion or whatever. Okay. Okay, so we have something like this. Let's take it off. So without the Magma BB tunes, we have this. Okay, with the Magma BB tune, we have this. Okay, without did versus the Pork Tech, I just simply boosted the bass, right? Yeah. See, I find it like the Pork Tech is much rounded. You know, I like it. I don't see, that's why I don't mess with any other thing. I don't even add gain because I can get the same effect the Magma is giving us if I was to push the gain. You see? And it sounds even beautiful. It sounds even beautiful, but I'm not trying to get, that's not my what I'm trying to do here. That's not what I'm trying to do here. See, it sounds beautiful. You know, and if you were to compare this to the Magma, it's going to be close a little bit, except I push this one harder so I can maybe be fair a little bit and maybe put it at 3. And now let's see how it compares to the Magma. Yeah, see, I like the Pork Tech. It keeps the natural thin and it makes it just rounded and smoothened. Yeah. So I like the Pork Tech. Yeah, the Magma. Yeah, smoothen. The Magma, You know, we're going to keep it both in there for now, but I'm going to keep the push. So now let's add everything we've done, and let's hear how the kick sounds like. Everything we've done, we're going to work in the kicks. We're going to work it in. All right, that's about good for me. The magma might be good once we put it all together. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to disable it. Okay, cool. So this is what we have so far, okay? So this is what we have so far. All right, so that's what we have so far, at least for now. All right, again, always save so you don't lose your work. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to bring in is going to be the... So this is what I did at first. When I started... Okay. Then that way I was able to work on the other stuff, okay? So the team, Peter worked on this, Peter Pan, okay? So he did the instrumentation. I just kind of just programmed it and he does the instrumentation. So anyways, with this, I'm going to take it back out. We don't need it, okay? It was just to guide us, okay? So I'm going to bring the marimba first, okay? The marimba, so let's play the marimba. So now that we have the levels of the kick, now we are going to start working all the other instruments in to fit in, not to overshadow it. So this is why I said mix low. See, by me mixing low, now everything is all going to be sitting low already. So now I'm not going to be hitting hot. So automatically, okay, you're already at negative 8.4. All right, so now let's go ahead and bring the marimba and let's work that in. So first I'm going to bring it hot, then I'm going to talk to you about the process, the chain. I want to tie it together, okay? So what I end up doing here is I end up doing a low cut, a high cut, somewhat of a made boost, which is kind of a drastic boost there. Not a lot, but still drastic. And then a slight kill for the high mid, okay? If we want to call it that, okay? Cool. So that's what I have done. So let's hear that equalization on and off, okay? So if you see it blue, it's on. If you see it gray or without it being blue, this way, it's off. So on, off, on, off. Okay, I'm going to bypass it so you see how it sounds with the equalization. Sometimes if you cannot concentrate, that means take out the other stuff, okay? So you can concentrate, okay? So for now, we kind of know what we need to do. So you see how it sounds like without? With? Without? For me personally, I think without the equalization, it sounds like it's all up in your face. And then with the equalization, it's kind of like, okay, we are compensating for the all up in your face feel, okay? So now we're going to compress it, okay? So it's a stereo compression because of the sound. It's kind of like a keyboard. So you would want that to be, it doesn't matter if you want to keep it mono, but for me I prefer stereo for a sound like this. So you guys can realize I did a very, very, very hard compression, okay? A very hard compression. All right. And then I added the CLA 2A also. All right, cool. So now that I have this, normally, just to not waste time, I'll just go ahead and just bring one thing and then kind of work it in. Let's hear it. The question for you to ask yourself is, if you are listening to this on record, would that be high enough, right? So bring it at the levels that you think, if this was the final touch, it's okay, okay? If you bring it too high, you're going to wash away the instrument. If you set it too low, it's not going to be too filling. So setting it too high, too low, so we got to find a good balance, okay? That's what we are working on. That's a good balance. I'm going to take it away so I can focus on the instruments, okay? So there is this HT, okay? So let's see what that is. Similar to the marimba, okay? All right. So the equalization, I use the same settings, okay? For the marimba. Okay, same settings for the marimba. Okay. Yeah. So let's just work it in. You guys hear it very small, right? We just got to bring it up a little bit so it can also contribute. The question for you to ask yourself is, do you want it to be high for that type of sound? For me, I would like it to sit in the mix and not be up front, for me personally. All right, so now that I have that, I can now bring in the piano, okay? So I'm gonna just take away that sound and just keep the piano for now. So the piano, there was no piano. It was just in the beginning. So let's hear it. So that's it. Let's equalize it. We just did a high cut and some slight treatments. Not much. Compression. Okay, so that's a hard compression. You guys see that? It's a very hard compression. I'm probably going to change that up. You see that? I compressed it very hard. So I'm going to change that compression and I'm going to not make it as hard, okay? But I don't want it to be like that because it's going to linger around. So that's probably why I cut it hard. All right, so I'm going to cut it high enough, but not too high. I like it this way, all right? Not too hard, it's okay enough. Okay, and then CLA2A, let's hear how it sounds like. So without. With. But you realize that it's washing out, okay? So I gotta bring it up front a little bit, not too washed out, okay? All right, so all I'm trying to do is control that piano, because if I don't do these things, hear how it sounds like. I'm just kind of almost hearing different frequencies together, you know, but now once we do this, we glue it together. All right, I don't know if you can audibly hear a difference, but that's the idea. So let's work it in. All right, so with this one, we cannot work it in like that. So we are gonna need maybe the main loop to do that. So my whole thing is, you see how loud the marimba is? We want to make it as loud as that. Okay, let's work on it. All right, for now it's okay, no big deal. Again, save your work as you move forward. Okay, so now we got to deal with the strings, okay? So the strings does not have any treatment, so that's going to be one that we can all do together, okay? So the strings, we got to figure out where it comes in. Okay, it comes in somewhere over here. Okay, so you see right here. So we have to make it hard so we can hear it. So the way it's going to work is, what I can do is I can mute that section, oh, not mute, loop that section. So I'm going to have it keep looping, then I'm going to work on it, okay? All right, so what I'm first going to do, okay, is I'm going to equalize, okay, equalization, okay. All right, so let's equalize. I'm going to let it keep playing and I'm going to do it so it will be easier for you to understand. All right, I think that's very smooth, very simple, okay? So now let's go through this together. I'm not gonna copy nothing. So we're gonna put on a compression, okay? So I'm gonna, because of what I'm trying to get with this, I can really do stereo, but because I wanna really get the tininess of it, I'm gonna go for the mono, okay? Mono. Okay. Sometimes the softwares act up and it will rather prefer you do stereo with it. So let's just go stereo. I mean, it's a stereo sound, but I was really trying to focus on the mono aspect of it. But let's just go with stereo. That's fine, no big deal. So here I'm going to compress it to a level that I think is okay. Yeah, that's fine for me. Let's do 2LA. Since we did stereo, let's go stereo. I wouldn't want to, I mean, I could reverse it, but it's all good. Let's just go stereo. Yeah, let's just go stereo. That's fine. All right, so the way I like to do it is you can either pick a preset that you like, maybe strings or something like that, and go from there, or you can either work with it here. For me personally, I like to always, you know, instead of, I want an analog feel, okay? So I'll put it at 60 hertz, and then I'll deal with it the way I was explaining, okay? So basically, set the gain where you want it or leave it where it is to set it to default, okay? Set to default, okay? And the peak reduction where you wanted that, okay? I hope that makes sense. Okay, anyways, let's go for it. So let's hear how it sounds like without the CLA. With the preset of the strings. So now I'm going to tweak it to my liking. So first I start with a peak to get it at how I want it to respond. All right, cool. So let's see how it sounds like. Let's work it in. Remember, I don't want it to be too hot, okay? I wanted it to be just about good enough. Let me make it harder. That's good for me right there. Okay, so now we're going to work on the guitars, okay? All right, so for the guitars, we're going to bring one up and then we're going to work from there. Okay. So the guitar, a simple equalization for all my guitars. I like to cut the low, then I like to basically go in and just cut a little bit of the mid lows. Okay, then I boost, just slight boost and slight cut so it doesn't sound too high and too low. And that's all I did here, just to kind of get it a bit balanced. Of course, with this sound, I probably may want to do a bit more to it. So we're going to check it right now. So with that equalization, width. So I'm going to try and work on that space aspect. The fact that it's kind of so spacious, I want to kind of kill it a little bit. So let's see if we can work on that. You guys see how spacious it is over there? You guys get what I mean by the space? I want to get rid of that space. That's why I'm doing this to it. You guys see how it's just gone? Now you may say to yourself, you want to make it that way so there's feeling to it, okay? That's where the other processors are going to help us, okay? I'm really only focusing on equalization, getting the sound as clean as possible. When it comes to equalization, my first priority is get the sound as clean as possible. I like that. Let's let's compress it. I like that. Okay. And again, that one was stereo because of it being, you know, a sound instrument. CLA. Again, you can pick a preset, okay, like the electric guitar and tweak if you want, or don't do that and do your own setting, okay? That is not where I want it at. Okay, so I'm gonna fix that. Okay, I'm gonna take that, well, I can keep it in, no big deal. Let's bring back the marimba, and then we're gonna work in the guitar, okay? For now, it's okay. And then what I like to do is, now that I'm done, I want to focus just on guitar. Okay, that is just one thing about me. I work like that. I want to just focus on the guitar. Okay, that's one thing about me when it comes to mixing. I'm very specific and particular with what I want to listen to and stuff like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and solo the first guitar, keep it there, and then work the other ones in. So because this is an acoustic, I don't have to worry too much about it, okay? So simple treatment. Normal compression, not much to it, okay? All right, and then the CLA, responding a little bit, okay? I could let it react a little bit more. So now that I have the two, work in the two with the one. It's fine for now, okay? And then my muted guitar is in the beginning only. Same equalization, not much, okay? Compression. I can actually compress it a bit more. A little bit more compression. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then CLA. That's fine. So now let's work it in. Let's work it with the piano. All right, so far that's what we've done so far. Okay. All right. And then our bass. Let's bring our bass in. So for our bass, what I like to do is I like to solo our kick and then get the bass to sound like it. For now, let's move. Okay. Equalization, I already talked to you about it a little bit. Okay. For our, so that was our kick that we talked about. So our bass, because I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna compensate for all the bass ends, kind of how I showed you when I was talking about the compression aspect. I like to cut it a little bit for the bass. Now you can decide to boost certain frequencies as needed, but for me, I like to cut the very low bass because I'm gonna compensate for it later. All right, then we compress it. Now you can bypass this compression if you feel like you like how your bass sounds like, but for me personally, I just don't like it to sound like it's just all around. That's the only reason why you see me doing these double compression or whatever, okay? This method. If you can do the first step and the second step, or the first and the third step, just two, it's okay enough, okay? But for me, I have a reason why I do that, because I do the first one slightly, then I use the second one to kind of mold it together. That's the whole purpose of how I do my mixing. Okay, so that is how it sounds like right now. So now let's work in, where's the kick? Oh, okay, so the kick was the magma that we worked up on. Let's bring the magma to the bass too. We just want to see how it sounds like. So for now, I have the compression done. Now let's talk about the pull tech. The pull tech, remember I told you, I like to only use it to boost my low end, okay? So this is like the bass. I'm using it to boost my low end. I'm not increasing the output, okay? So let's hear it without and with. This is without. So with, without, with, without, with, all right. Let's try the BB tubes, BB tubes. It's not bad at all, okay? Let's get our kickback and let's work it in. Let's go with a pull tech for now. So now that our kick is playing, we're going to work in our bass. Don't let it overtake it. It's swallowing it. Let it sit right about even or under it, depending on what you are trying to go for. Of course, with the Afro pop, you don't want your bass to be under. I want it to sit right where the kick is. All right, you guys see where we are at -3. So that means we are a bit hot, but it's all good. We are only trying to get somewhere. Okay, so far, everything we've done up till now are all the EQs and equalizations. Before I even do anything, let's talk about the buses, okay? So the first track, I sent a little bit of bus to bus 4. And on bus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have a reverb sitting there, okay? All right, and that reverb, I cleaned the low end a little bit, cleaned the high end a little bit, and then put it on play 1 for that reverb, okay? Play 1 will be this setting here. It's gonna be on hall, but that's play 1 because that's the feel that I wanna hear, okay? So we're gonna turn it on over there. Actually, we're gonna turn on, yeah, let's just turn it on over there, that's it. And then for 4, and then we are going to hear how it sounds like now. So that's for the shaker. You see, there's a little bit of spacious thing. I don't want it to be too much because there's so many things in there. The more I make it, it's going to sound so spacious. I don't want that. So I want it to sound up front, but a little bit spacious. That's why I put it just a little bit, You see how it's not there? The space is gone. Now it's gonna come. You see it's there? It's gone now. Back. You see? So right about okay enough is fine. Okay, and then the second loop is also set to 4. So let's see how that sounds by itself. So without, you see, flat, which is cool. And then I add a little bit. You see, spacious, adds a little bit of feeling to it, okay? So now together, without the buses, it's still fine, but with the buses, it makes it a bit lively, right? Cool. So then we have the hi-hats, okay? Sorry, not the hi-hats, but the congos, the high congo and the low congo. Okay, same thing. That's going to bus 1. I have something set there, and it's reverb, right? So bus 1. Okay, and the reverb is set there. Let's turn it on. All right, and we've sent a little bit there. So let's play without and with. So this is without. So this is with. It adds a little bit of room to it, okay? Without, with. All right, excuse me. So you guys got it, right? And now the last, not the last, but the next thing is the hi-hat, okay? So the hi-hat, same thing, is going to bus 1. Here by itself, without, you see, with, without, with. Maybe we can reduce it a little bit. Maybe a little bit, okay? Cool. So now that we have that, let's work on the strings. Okay, so for the strings, I'm going to send it to bus. I've created these buses. I didn't talk to you about it, but I created them. So basically the way you set up a bus, you go to bus, then you pick a number, and then it's going to create one of these for you. Then you just go there and put whatever processing you want on there. So you can put a reverb and decide to compress the bus and all that. That's if you want to do that. For me, certain things I don't see necessary in my mixes, so I don't worry about it, okay? But it's up to you. So the strings, we got to figure out where it plays. Let's see, it plays here. So now we're going to add that bus to it. And we're going to pick the instrument bus, not the drum bus. I intentionally, bus 1 is already used, so let's use bus 2, okay? For those sound instruments, okay? That's probably why I created it that way. Reverb is there. Let's turn them all on. So for the strings, we don't want to leave it dry like that. We add a little bit of mood to it, okay? Okay, that's fine. And then let's go for the marimba. Let's send it to 2. We're just gonna add a little bit of room to it. Okay, the other ones we're gonna work on is the guitars. So let's add a bass to the guitar. So that already has something. All right, so if you want to add a bass, just be careful how you go about with it, okay? Okay, so bus 4, did anyone use bus 4? Who used bus 4? Okay, that's what it was. Okay, so let's do bus 3, that's fine. 3 is fine. I'm only going to add a little bit, but it's not needed because the sound already kind of has reverb, okay? So, but I'm going to add a little bit just for processing, for the purpose of processing. Okay, let's add the second one. So this don't have any reverb processed, so let's work on that. Okay, let's work on the intro. We're going to work on the muted guitar. Let's add a little bit of the reverb to the bass. Yeah, this is fine. All right, so far, Let's hear what we have all together based on everything we've done. All right, I'm saving the work. This is based on everything we've done so far. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Everything up till there. Now with these, like I said, it's just me starting with the programming and deciding to work on the medley. Okay. All right, so that's not what we are going to use. Okay, so we're not going to worry about it. It's just there just for the girls to, you know, figure out where to start from when they are singing and stuff like that. Okay, and also for us to program. And this mix down here is just the song, I guess the instrumentals mixed down at a certain stage, but it's not needed. It's just there for referencing whenever I need referencing. That's all. All right. So let's see what we have so far. Let's see what we have so far. We are -5, so that's not bad. So I think we're gonna have to bring that up a little bit, okay? So we can kind of see how it helps or how it doesn't help. We want to see that right now. Understand this right now. I'm just doing basics of mixing, okay? Now at some point I'm actually going to listen to it in the speakers, because right now I'm not using the speakers because I'm talking to you. Once I'm done and I get off live, I'm going to listen to it from the speakers. Then I'm going to go in and let's say, for example, maybe if something needs a bit of brightening, for example, the loop here, if it needs a little bit of brightening, then I'll come in and maybe put in some exciting stuff. So for example, the vintage exciter. Okay, let's hear how it makes it sound like. So I'll do all these in the speakers, not in my headphone. You see, it changes it, but again, that's just drastic. That's why you hear it like that. I'll come in and do all these things later, okay? You guys see how some excitement are part of it? Okay, so I'll take time and go through this, okay? And figure things out. Anyways, that was just to kind of give you an idea of what. So the question here is, I want to see if the magma is good for the base and the kicks. So I'm going to test later on my own time. is okay because I'm going to level it and everything at VCAs. And then from there, it's going to control the volume of those two to VCA2. You guys see how that works? Okay, I'm going to undo that. If I was to solo the drums, it's going to give me this. That's all the, well, you're not going to hear it here. Have I not assigned it? Because this is a different project. Okay, I see what's going on. So, yeah, so I haven't assigned them yet, so I'm going to have to assign them. Okay, so for now, it's not where it needs to be. Assign them, no big deal. Assign them to, I'm going to change the name from EPAP to, say, INST. Well, I'm not going to create a new group. I'm just going to call it into the, I'm going to delete the CO, okay? And then the kick and the bass, possible. See, now it's assigned. If you don't see something assigned, it's okay, and these don't count, all right? So with these, I will delete them once we are done with the work, but for now, be within -9 and -7. So you select it all if you want, and then just zero it out, okay? So now you're not gonna see. Okay. What range works for me. Basically, that is good, but I'm gonna push it a bit more down to just make more room for me in mastering. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of the numbers is, and I'm trying to kind of go down to -8 maybe. I know it's very low, but it's fine. So what I'm gonna do is instead of -7, I'm gonna go down a whole lot of steps to -8. Okay, and now let's see where we are peaking at. I want to be around 8, 7.8, that's fine. But not right now. I have to get off live so I can actually do it without getting interfered. But I'm just letting you know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be adding probably the exciter just to see a little bit of excitement. At the same time, I may possibly add an excess. Let me see. That meter. Let me see. There are a few things I want to. Okay, I know why. Steven Slate. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna take care of some things. There's a Slate sound I might be missing. It probably just didn't. Oh, because of the iOS update. So because of that, I think that's what it is. Slate. Slate digital. Yep. Could not be opened. I don't know why, but that's what I was looking for. Fresh air. Okay. So probably because of the new update. I don't know. The new iOS update, which iOS is on. So that is why I can't see it. All right. So no big deal, but I still have a few workarounds to that. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's it. So I'll do the mastering with you just to show you. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do the mastering. So then you get to see how the mastering will work. Okay. All right. Remain blessed. Have a good one. God bless you for watching. Bye bye.